What's up, guys? Welcome into Kurt Magoo Sports, and I wanted to offer my perspective on a 17-game NFL season compared to a 16-game NFL season. Now, we have both seen these play out in terms of 17 weeks and 16 weeks. 16 weeks was around for a while, 14 weeks in the 80s, so the NFL has decided the NFL wants to add games to the schedule. They want to add games because it adds more revenue, puts more money in their pocket, all right? It makes the fans enjoy it more because you see more starters playing more football games. You see the playoffs expanded so that you see more teams in the playoffs. There's more ad money. There's more revenue for the owners in terms of fans attending the football game. But my argument for the NFL to move forward to eliminate 17 games and move forward to 16 games, all right, is this. I believe that the product of the NFL regular season is too long with 17 games. I enjoy 16 games. I experienced 16 games. The thing that makes the NFL different and football different from baseball and basketball is that each game is that there's not many games, and it's the most physical sport out of the four major sports. Injury, of course, is at its highest. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous sport. So you give credit to everybody involved in the sport. So the urgency to compete, because everybody wants to compete for a Super Bowl championship. The urgency to compete in September, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, is not high when there are 17 games because your defense has to play well at the correct time. You even saw this with 16 games, peak at the right time. But with 17 games, the peaking at the right time, it causes more off weeks, okay? It causes more influx. It causes more unpredictable results. Like the Dallas Cowboys can beat the Denver Broncos 31-0, and then they play the Maryland team, and they kill them. In week 16, they play Washington, all right? And they kick their ass. So there's no consistency. You know, the Cowboys, when there's 17 games, when there are more games, your game plans are not as good. Your work is not as good. If someone were to give a college student 2 essays to do, and it's weighed heavily, those essays are going to be better than 4 different essays. Because when it's 4 essays, when you're taking the second essay, you're going to think, oh, well, guess what? If I get a C on this essay, I still got 2 in my back pocket. So if you make the NFL 16 games and you make the NFL system and you shorten the amount of playoff teams that are able to participate, you make the regular season more valuable. The playoffs should be a privilege to play in the playoffs. In the AFC, we still have the Chargers, and the Chargers lost to the Texans. The Chargers got crushed by a bad Broncos team, but yet they're going to be rewarded, and they're going to be playing the Kansas City Chiefs or the consistent Buffalo Bills. Why should the Chargers be able to be at the same level as a 9-8 team as a 13-3 team? That makes no sense. You're not incentivizing the regular season at all, and you're causing the product to be worse. It cannot be quantified, all right? It just has to kind of be eye test. Maybe there can be scientific data for defenses getting a lot worse or a lot of fluctuality. These players, I'm sure that they would rather have 16-game seasons. Now, they are making more money the other way, which it's always tough to compete against financial things. I wish that, the player safety can be utilized here, because that argument can be utilized. From a fan's perspective, I enjoy 16 games because I enjoy heightened senses of urgency. I enjoy teams being eliminated quicker. In Week 10, I enjoy a team being eliminated if they suck. All right, if the Eagles started off the season poorly and they're 2-5, I want the odds of them making the playoffs to be very slim because they sucked at the beginning of the year and they deserve to be treated as a team that was not good in the beginning of a year. All right? I want to see it difficult to advance and to make the playoffs in the NFL. I really do. And I want to see the game shortened because guys are taking off. You have more players getting injured. You have more guys sitting than ever before. The quality is not where it has been, all right? And it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse. And preseason, they're not going to play. But listen, 4 preseason games is important to me because I want to see the last guy on the roster. I want to see them get a shot at the NFL because those are the real guys, the special teams guys. The majority of your roster are practice squad special teams guys. You want to see them get a chance to showcase themselves not only to their team, but you want to see a chance for them to showcase themselves amongst the league to everybody. All right? And what? You have to spend an extra weekend at the Shore. All right, and you're not going to go to the first week of the regular season game because, again, the September games are bad. The product is sloppier. The game plans are not as good because these coaches are pouring in too much of their time into this. You need to make it even more precious. You need to make each game more precious. Heightened senses of urgency. You want products to be unbelievable. This 17-game season, you can't even remember all of the games. So when you're talking about the season and you're going back to September, you're not going to be able to chronicle these seasons more effectively because there's more games. They just get mashed together. You want to see rivalries increase. You want to see things of that nature increase. That is why the NFL should move to 16 games. And it's forward thinking because it protects the players. It also gives guys on the practice squad more opportunities. It makes your league more appeasing. And then the players are giving their best efforts. The stamina can be increased. The urgency can be better. For some of these teams that are eliminated, they're packing it in week 15, 16, 17. But if it's 16 weeks, it's better. It's easier to compete in a 16-week. That extra week is huge. It's not good. It frustrates me. Maybe it frustrates some of you. Maybe it frustrates some of you like it frustrates me. Because I want the product to be as good as possible. I want the players to be as safe as possible, and I want the playoffs to be really, really intense with 4 playoff games because I've watched that, and I enjoy that style. I don't enjoy this style. I don't enjoy the current model. I believe we could go to a model that has been used before. It will be a good model again. I want to see the model be – I've seen both models. Last year's playoffs were not good. I mean, the Seattle Rams game, Seattle was not good in that game. The Chicago Bears were not worthy of being a playoff team. They embarrassed themselves for the NFL playoffs. They're one of the worst participants in the playoffs that we have had. All right? You could say that Tom Brady playing in D.C., you could say that game was a decent game. Whatever games that we have. Buffalo and the Colts, okay, that was one good game. That game could have been the game, right? The Saints-Bears game. The Steelers-Browns game was just horrendous. No defense being played. Mistakes. Not a typical Mike Tomlin game because he's not used to playing that format. He's used to playing a format of 6 teams in the playoffs, which is the way that, in my opinion, it should be. It should change to 16 games. keep changing to improve the safety of your sport, right? You want to keep changing. You want to prevent CTE and things of that nature. You need to make, the starters can then have 16 games, all right? 16 games. By the way, the 17th game, it's not going to be great because the week up to the Super Bowl, they don't even have 2 weeks to recover for those teams playing 20 games. So the body, it's too much wear and tear on their bodies because you want the football players to put everything on the line. You want them to be all engaged at all times. That's the way to prevent injury is you need players to be engaged. So that's my argument, guys.